What would you do if you walked into a roadside cafe and saw Elon Musk sitting alone, sipping coffee like a regular guy? For most, it would be a moment of awe. But for one group of bikers, it was an opportunity to assert dominance. The cafe, nestled on a desolate stretch of highway, was eerily quiet except for the soft murmur of the radio and the occasional clink of dishes. Elon sat near the window, gazing out at the vast horizon, his expression calm and contemplative. He looked like any other traveler on a quiet break, except, of course, he wasn't. The sudden roar of motorcycle engines shattered the peace as a group of leather-clad bikers pulled up, their laughter and banter carrying through the open door. They spotted Elon immediately, their eyes narrowing in recognition. "Isn't that?" one of them muttered. "Yeah," another replied with a grin. "Let's see if the big-shot genius can handle a little reality check." As they approached Elon's table, the air grew heavy with tension. But Elon didn't flinch. Instead, he glanced up, offering a polite smile that only seemed to provoke the bikers further. Little did they know, this unassuming genius was about to turn the tables in a way they'd never forget. The bikers' antics. The cafe door swung open with a jarring creak as the bikers strode in, their boots thudding against the wooden floor. The group's leader, a burly man with a thick beard and a jacket patched with skulls, scanned the room with a smirk. His crew followed closely, exuding an air of dominance. It didn't take long for their attention to land on Elon. Sitting by the window, he looked oddly out of place, his clean-cut appearance and quiet demeanor a stark contrast to their rugged energy. The leader tilted his head toward Elon, his grin widening. "Hey boys," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Look who's slumming it with us today." The genius himself. Elon looked up from his coffee, meeting the man's gaze with a calm smile. "Good evening," he said, his voice steady and polite. The leader chuckled, clearly amused by Elon's composed response. "Evening? This ain't the kind of place for suits and spreadsheets, pal. You lost." The other bikers laughed, moving closer to Elon's table. One of them, a wiry man with a sharp look in his eye, tapped the edge of Elon's table. "What's a guy like you doing in a place like this?" "No Teslas to chart around here." Elon set his cup down gently, his expression unchanging. "Just enjoying a quiet evening," he replied. The leader leaned forward, placing both hands on the table. "Quiet, huh? See, we don't do quiet. Maybe you'd be better off letting us have this table." "What do you say?" Elon raised an eyebrow, his calm gaze unwavering. "That depends," he said simply. "Can you afford it?" The unexpected reply caught the bikers off guard, but their amusement quickly turned into a challenge. The leader straightened, clearly not expecting Elon's calm, yet sharp response. He crossed his arms, his grin returning. "Afford it? What? You charging rent now, genius? Or maybe you're offering to buy us around with that tech billionaire wallet of yours?" The bikers chuckled, their confidence growing. Another one, a tall man with a scar running down his cheek, stepped closer to Elon. "Look, buddy, this ain't Silicon Valley. Around here, you gotta earn your spot." He reached for the chair across from Elon, dragging it out noisily before plopping down. Elon's gaze shifted to the man, still calm. "I see. And how exactly does one earn their spot here?" Scarface leaned back in the chair, crossing his legs. "By proving you belong, of course. You think you can just roll in here with your fancy ideas and your quiet little coffee routine without showing some grit?" Elon's lips curled into the faintest smile. "Grit, you say? Intriguing. And what exactly constitutes grit in this establishment?" The leader slapped the table, laughing. "Oh, I like this guy. Thinks he's got jokes." He leaned down, his tone dropping. "But let me make something clear. You're not in one of your labs or boardrooms now. This is our turf. So, why don't you make it easy and move along before things get uncomfortable?" The tension in the air thickened as the bikers surrounded the table, their presence imposing. But Elon didn't flinch. Instead, he casually picked up his coffee cup, took a slow sip, and placed it back on the saucer. "You know," Elon said, meeting the leader's gaze, "it's fascinating how often people mistake volume for power." The bikers' laughter died down, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. Elon's calm confidence wasn't just unnerving, it was starting to shift the balance. The leader's grin faltered for a split second before he covered it with a forced laugh. "Volume for power, huh? All right, Einstein, let's see what kind of power you've got under all that cool talk. Another biker chimed in, a shorter man with wild hair and a gravelly voice. Yeah, what's your deal, Musk? You think you're better than us because you built some fancy cars? Out here, we run on gas and guts, not circuits and batteries. The crew laughed again, but this time it felt less certain, as if Elon's unwavering calm had begun to gnaw at their bravado. Elon leaned back in his chair, studying the group with the air of someone analyzing a puzzle. Better? No, just different. Though I have to admit, the irony of you talking about circuits and batteries is amusing. The leader squinted at him, his tone sharpening. What's that supposed to mean? Elon's lips curved into a small smile. You'd be surprised how much technology is part of your life already, even when you think it's not. Take that smartwatch you're wearing, for example. He gestured casually at the leader's wrist. The leader glanced at his watch, then back at Elon, his frown deepening. What about it? Well, Elon continued, his voice steady and measured. It's tracking your steps, your heart rate, probably even your sleep patterns. It's a computer, just like my cars, except you wear it without a second thought. The leader shifted uncomfortably, while another biker glanced down at his own smartwatch, the doubt creeping into his expression. See, Elon added, his tone almost conversational. Technology isn't about replacing tradition. It's about enhancing it. But I get it. Sometimes, the hardest thing to see is your own potential. The room fell quiet, the bikers exchanging uneasy glances as Elon's words began to sink in. The leader straightened, his posture stiff as he tried to shake off the unease Elon's words had planted. All right, Musk, he said with a forced chuckle. You've got a clever mouth. I'll give you that. But out here, words don't mean much. Actions do. Elon set his coffee cup down gently, meeting the leader's gaze with quiet confidence. Actions, you say? Interesting. And what kind of actions are we talking about? The leader smirked, gesturing to his crew. Why don't we see if you're sharp on your feet as you are with your words? Maybe take a little walk outside. See how tough you really are? The bikers murmured in agreement, their confidence momentarily restored. One of them cracked his knuckles loudly, adding an intimidating edge to the challenge. Elon didn't budge. Instead, he leaned forward slightly, his tone calm but deliberate. A walk outside? Fascinating. And here I thought you'd appreciate something a bit more illuminating. The leader frowned, the meaning of Elon's words unclear. Before he could respond, Elon glanced at the cafe's corner, where a discreet security monitor displayed footage from the parking lot. That system over there, Elon said, nodding toward it. Quite the setup for a roadside cafe. It's amazing what you can learn with a few well-placed cameras. The bikers stiffened, their bravado faltering. The leader glanced at the screen, his jaw tightening. What are you trying to say? Elon smiled faintly. Oh, nothing much. Just that the things people assume are private often aren't. The room grew heavy with silence, as the implications of Elon's words began to sink in. The bikers, so used to having control, suddenly felt the balance shift. For the first time, they were no longer sure they held the upper hand. The big reveal. The bikers exchanged uneasy glances as Elon's words hung in the air. The faint hum of the cafe's security monitor now seemed louder, its flickering screen casting shadows that mirrored the growing doubt on their faces. The leader, still trying to maintain control, squared his shoulders and stepped forward. All right, Musk, he said, his voice laced with forced bravado. If you've got something to say, say it. What are you playing at? Elon tilted his head slightly, his calm expression unwavering. Playing? That's not really my style. But I do believe in highlighting potential when I see it. He gestured toward the security monitor. For example, those cameras. They've captured some rather interesting moments. Would you like to see? The bikers stiffened, their earlier confidence crumbling as suspicion took hold. One of them, a younger man with nervous energy, muttered, "What kind of moments?" Elon walked to the monitor, tapping a few buttons on the console as the screen shifted to playback mode. Grainy footage flickered to life, showing snippets of the bikers' earlier interactions. Acts of camaraderie, unexpected kindness, and even surprising skill. There, Elon said, pointing to the screen. The footage showed the leader, moments before entering the cafe, helping a stranded motorist push their car to the side of the road. The leader's jaw tightened. That's nothing. he said quickly. Just didn't want them blocking the way. Elon smiled knowingly. Of course. And this? He clicked to another clip, revealing one of the bikers sketching a stunningly detailed motorcycle design in the dirt with a stick. The group fell silent, their tough exteriors cracking as they began to see themselves in a new light. Interesting talents, Elon remarked. Hidden in plain sight. The cafe was silent except for the faint hum of the security monitor as Elon continued scrolling through the footage. The bikers watched intently, their bravado replaced by a mix of curiosity and discomfort. Let's see what else we have, Elon said, clicking to another clip. The screen now showed a wiry biker, the same one who had taunted Elon earlier, fixing a broken bike chain with impressive speed and precision. His hands moved deftly, almost mechanically, as if he had done it 1,000 times before. The biker, caught off guard, tried to play it cool. It's nothing. Just basic bike maintenance, he muttered, scratching the back of his neck. Basic? Elon asked, raising an eyebrow. I've seen trained engineers struggle with half the efficiency you just showed. You've got a skill most people would kill for. Before the biker could respond, Elon clicked to another clip. This time, it was Tank, the quiet, hulking member of the group. The footage showed him gently helping a young child tie their shoe near the cafe entrance. The group turned to Elon, glanced back at the screen, a faint smile on his lips. The point is simple. You see yourselves as tough, gritty outlaws. But these moments? They show something else. Resourcefulness, precision, compassion. These aren't just random acts. They're indicators of untapped potential. The bikers exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of Elon's words starting to sink in. The bikers shifted uncomfortably, their earlier bravado now a distant memory. Elon stood by the monitor, scrolling through more clips that further unraveled their tough exteriors. The next video showed the youngest biker, who had been the loudest during their taunts, playing a guitar near his bike. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, a stark contrast to his rugged appearance. The cafe went silent as the clip played. The biker, visibly embarrassed, tried to brush it off. It's just a hobby, he mumbled, staring at the floor. Elon tilted his head, his calm voice cutting through the tension. A hobby that takes dedication and creativity. I wonder how many people here know you've got a talent that could move hearts. The biker didn't respond, but his flushed face spoke volumes. Another clip flickered onto the screen. This one showed the leader himself, Grizz, leaning over a detailed map at the cafe counter, explaining routes to another group of travelers. His gestures were animated, his tone confident but clear. Elon turned to Grizz. Leadership. Strategy. You're not just leading this group. You're guiding others without even realizing it. Grizz stiffened, his jaw tightening. Yeah, well, they looked lost. That doesn't mean anything. Elon stepped closer, his voice steady. It means everything. The question is, why are you wasting it on intimidation when you could be building something real? The bikers exchanged glances, the weight of Elon's words settling heavily over them. Their tough exteriors had been carefully constructed over years, but now they were beginning to crack. Grizz finally broke the silence. All right, Musk, you've made your point. So, what do you want from us? Elon smiled faintly. Not from you for you. But we'll get to that. The bikers stood in stunned silence, their eyes flickering between the security monitor and Elon. Moments earlier, they had been confident, dominant, and certain of their place in the world. Now, Elon had turned their image of themselves on its head. The youngest biker, still reeling from the clip of his guitar playing, broke the silence. You've been watching us this whole time? He asked, his voice tinged with both embarrassment and curiosity. Elon shook his head, his tone calm but pointed. Not watching, observing. There's a difference. And what I've observed is a group of individuals with extraordinary potential. You just haven't realized it yet. Tank folded his arms, his brow furrowed. Potential for what? We're just bikers. What are you trying to say? Elon leaned forward slightly, his gaze sweeping across the group. I'm saying you're wasting your gifts. Leadership, creativity, precision, compassion. Those aren't just traits. They're tools. Tools that can change the world if you let them. The leader, Grizz, rubbed the back of his neck, visibly grappling with Elon's words. All right, Musk, you got us all figured out. But what are we supposed to do with that? Go back to school? Build our own tech company? Elon smiled faintly. Not quite. But what if I told you there's a way to use what you already have to be part of something bigger? Something that blends who you are with what you could become? Grizz raised an eyebrow, suspicion mingling with curiosity. And what exactly is that supposed to mean? Elon straightened, his expression both mysterious and inviting. I'll explain. But first, you have to decide, are you willing to see what's possible? The bikers exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of the moment sinking in. Change was in the air, and they could feel it. The opportunity of a lifetime. The bikers stood frozen, their bravado completely stripped away, replaced by curiosity and a tinge of apprehension. Grizz crossed his arms, narrowing his eyes at Elon. All right, Musk, enough with the riddles. What exactly are you getting at? Elon clasped his hands behind his back, pacing slightly as he spoke. You see, most people think innovation is reserved for those sitting in labs or writing code. But the truth is, innovation starts with people who understand the world in ways others can't. People like you. The younger biker scoffed, though his voice lacked conviction. Us? What could we possibly bring to the table for someone like you? Elon turned to him, his expression serious but inviting. Perspective, grit, real-world experience. You don't see things through a sanitized corporate lens. You understand risk, adaptability, and problem-solving in ways that most people can't even begin to grasp. Those are exactly the qualities that Tesla needs. Tank frowned, scratching his head. Tesla? What will we do there? Fix cars? Test rides? Elon chuckled softly. Not quite. Tesla's working on something new. A program designed to push the boundaries of transportation. And I need people who think differently. People who've spent their lives pushing limits and challenging norms. Grizz raised an eyebrow, his suspicion giving way to intrigue. And you think that's us? Elon nodded. I know it is. The bikers exchanged glances, the weight of Elon's words sinking in. For the first time, they saw a path forward they hadn't considered before. The bikers shifted uneasily, their tough exteriors masking the storm of thoughts swirling in their minds. Grizz narrowed his eyes, his voice skeptical. You're telling me you want us, bikers, grease monkeys, road warriors, to be part of some fancy Tesla program? What's the catch? Elon stopped pacing, his calm gaze locking onto Grizz. No catch. Just opportunity. But I understand your hesitation. It's not every day someone offers to turn your skills into something that could shape the future. One of the bikers, the wiry man who had taunted Elon earlier, spoke up. So, what does this program involve? Testing electric bikes? Building them? Elon smiled faintly. Both. Tesla's working on next-generation electric motorcycles. Machines that combine the power and freedom you love with cutting-edge technology. But to make them truly exceptional, we need people who understand what it means to ride. Not just engineers, but real riders who can push the limits, spot the flaws, and demand more. The younger biker's eyes lit up despite himself. You mean we get to ride prototypes? Elon nodded. And more. Your input would shape the design, performance, and even the culture of these bikes. You wouldn't just be testers. You'd be pioneers. Tank let out a low whistle. Sounds like a lot of responsibility. It is, Elon agreed. But isn't that what you're already used to? Every time you hit the road, you're trusting your instincts, your skills, and your team to get through. This is no different. The only thing changing is the horizon you're riding toward. Grizz rubbed his chin, still cautious. And what happens if we say no? Elon shrugged, his expression neutral. Then nothing changes. You stay the same? But if you say yes, he paused, letting the weight of his words settle. You might just surprise yourselves. The cafe grew quiet again as the bikers mulled over Elon's words. The air was heavy with tension, not from fear or anger, but from something deeper, possibility. Grizz looked around at his crew. His hardened expression softened as he took in their faces. These weren't just riders, they were his family. Each of them had their quirks, their strengths, their untapped potential. Elon's offer wasn't just about them. It was about what they could become together. The youngest biker, still fidgeting, broke the silence. What if we're not good enough? I mean, yeah, we know bikes, but this is Tesla. It's a whole other level. Elon stepped closer, his tone measured but firm. Good enough? Let me tell you something. The best innovators aren't the ones who already have all the answers. They're the ones who ask the right questions and push boundaries. You've been doing that your entire lives. You just didn't have the platform to show it. Tank grunted, his arms folded across his chest. And you're saying Tesla's that platform? Elon nodded. Exactly. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about amplifying what you already bring to the table. The grit, the creativity, the courage, it's all there. All you need to do is take the first step. Grizz rubbed his jaw, the weight of the decision evident on his face. Finally, he turned to his crew. What do you think, boys? You ready to trade asphalt for innovation? The group exchanged glances. One by one, they nodded, hesitant at first, but with growing determination. Grizz looked back at Elon, his usual swagger tempered with respect. All right, Musk, we're in. But don't expect us to go easy on you. Or your machines. Elon smirked. I wouldn't dream of it. The deal was struck, and the bikers' journey into uncharted territory had officially begun. Resolution and takeaways. The bikers followed Elon out of the cafe, their boots crunching on the gravel lot as they gathered near the Cybertruck. The once intimidating group now seemed more curious than defiant, their tough exteriors replaced by a subtle eagerness to embrace the unknown. Grizz ran a hand along the Cybertruck's angular frame, his expression contemplative. So, this is what the future looks like, huh? Elon glanced at him, a small smile playing on his lips. This? No. This is just the beginning. The future is what we build together. Tank stepped forward, nodding toward the Cybertruck. You really think we got what it takes? I mean, this is a whole different ballgame. Elon turned to face the group, his gaze steady. You've already proven you do. What I saw in that cafe wasn't just grit. It was ingenuity, leadership, and heart. Those are the qualities that make innovation possible. The younger biker, who had been the most skeptical, spoke up. So, when do we start? Are we really going to get to ride those electric bikes you talked about? Elon chuckled. Soon. But it's not just about the ride. It's about shaping something that no one else can. You're not just riders anymore. You're innovators. Grizz smirked, his confidence returning, but now tempered with respect. All right, Musk. You got us hooked. But don't think we'll go easy on your tech. We'll ride it hard and push it harder. Elon nodded, his expression serious. That's exactly why I chose you. The group fell into a comfortable silence as they looked out at the open road. It wasn't just a highway anymore. It was a symbol of the uncharted path they were about to take. The bikers mounted their motorcycles, their engines rumbling with a familiar growl that now felt like an echo of a chapter they were leaving behind. Elon watched them from beside the Cybertruck, his calm demeanor unchanged, but his mind undoubtedly envisioning the possibilities ahead. Grizz slid on his helmet, but hesitated before starting his bike. You know, Musk, he said, his voice carrying a rare mix of humor and sincerity. I still think you're a little crazy, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. Elon smirked. Crazy's just another word for visionary. If you do it right. The group chuckled, the tension that had defined their first encounter now replaced by a shared sense of camaraderie. The youngest biker revved his engine, looking toward Grizz. So, boss, what's the plan now? Straight to Tesla HQ. Grizz shook his head with a grin. Not yet, kid. We got some miles to burn first. Gotta make sure Musk's machines are ready for the real road. Elon raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. You're not exactly the conventional onboarding type, are you? Grizz laughed, his grin widening. Would you expect anything less? As the bikers pulled out of the lot one by one, their silhouettes fading into the horizon, the sound of their engines lingered in the air. For them, the open road was no longer just a path. It was a bridge to a future they hadn't imagined until that night. Elon climbed into the Cybertruck, the quiet hum of the electric motor a stark contrast to the roar of the bikes. As he drove off in the opposite direction, a faint smile tugged at his lips. This wasn't just a victory, It was the start of something far greater. As the sound of the bikes faded into the night, the quiet of the cafe parking lot returned. The stars overhead seemed brighter now, casting a serene glow on the empty road. For the bikers, the ride ahead wasn't just about covering miles. It was about embracing a journey into the unknown. Inside the Cybertruck, Elon glanced in his rearview mirror, catching a final glimpse of the cafe as it disappeared behind him. He tapped the dashboard, pulling up a note-taking app, and typed a simple line. Potential is everywhere. It just needs the right spark. The bikers' transformation wasn't just about them. It was a reminder of the power of seeing beyond the surface. What had started as a clash of personalities had turned into a moment of inspiration, proving that even the most unlikely individuals could contribute to innovation. Back on the road, Grizz and his crew rode in silence, their usual banter replaced by introspection. The youngest biker finally broke the quiet, his voice thoughtful. "You think he's serious? About us being part of something bigger?" Grizz, his eyes fixed on the road ahead, nodded slowly. "Yeah, kid, I think he is. And I think it's time we start taking ourselves seriously, too." The group murmured in agreement, their camaraderie taking on a new depth. They weren't just a gang anymore. They were a team with a purpose. The story didn't end that night at the cafe. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one where tradition met innovation, and grit met opportunity. The open road stretched out before them, full of twists, turns, and endless possibilities. Sometimes, the most unexpected encounters lead to the greatest journeys.